I wait for it to load here. I think I didn't go live the last time.
Yeah, on my screen, it's saying meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Yep. Okay, we are streaming live for all our audience out there.
Right.
Okay, I got Crystal, I got Charles, I got Paul. I don't have Heather.
Heather. Oh, you got Heather's there.
Okay, well, I'm going to admit the attorneys. Mr. Youngblood, Ms. Gaden, how are y'all?
Very well, Your Honor. How are you?
Fine. Hey, Ms. Gaden, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
No, there you are. Now I got you. Well, it's nice to see you both.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Judge.
Okay, before I let you folks in, I assume y'all still need a hearing on this. Do you have any resolution?
We talked, but I'm open to recommendations of the court. Of course, my client wants children returned back, so.
Right. Your Honor, we obviously we don't believe that the court is going to flip, custody or anything in the long term over this thing. And really all we're asking for, at this point is a way to make sure that the kids feel safe in the house. And so, a lot of what happened or didn't happen at the night of the event, I don't think matters. And I don't think either of these people were there to see it. So I don't know that there's a lot of direct testimony that's going to affect it. Our bigger concern, of course, is that the kids are, that the kids would be uncomfortable there at the house.
Yep.
So we're looking for some way to get the kids back into the regular schedule, get the kids back with mom, as they should be, so that, but provided that, they feel safe in the house.
Right.
That's really, at this point, that's all we believe we can do.
Right. Well, when I talked to Holly and Crystal last week, they were talking and we were all talking about counseling and I think Crystal, you told me, or maybe Holly told me, the kids, at least two of the kids were already in counseling.
One, Kylee.
Okay. And so I didn't know whether or not the counselor had a chance to talk to that child or whether or not the other kids were there, because I can see why there'd be some uncomfortableness on the other part for being there. And that was a fairly, could have been a much more serious issue than it was, but still, there's some things that happen in the house that I think would concern anybody. And so I really would like to hear from counselors or from some experts to tell us how the children are doing and whether or not they're going to be traumatized by returning to the house. And mom needs to be enjoined, I think, from renting the house out to Airbnb or whichever one, Verbo, which one she's doing. Because first of all, I think it's a terrible idea in the first place. But when you have kids, I don't think you need to have kids. Have people sleep in the kids' beds and being in the kids' house, even if things that have gone well, or the kids' rooms rather.
I know that my client was already trying to get the kids back, to see their counselor, and they already have a relationship with the one child. And I don't know if he was able to get her in between. I mean, it was only 5 days, including the weekend since Holly and Miss Gaden saw you. So right. I know that we've had time to get them in, but obviously he's open to getting them into counseling as fast as we can. But he doesn't want to restrict mom from having them until they can get in, because, I don't think he sees that as good for the kids either. don't know what to do about the house right this second on that.
Well,
Mom,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Crystal. Go ahead.
she has stated that she has accommodations if the children are really fearful of the home. One, she wants them to come back to the home, to walk the home, just so that they can alleviate any concerns if they have them. And then alternative to that, if they still are uncomfortable, she does have accommodations for them. Everybody can pack up and go to grandma's house or wherever, and for the time being. So she doesn't necessarily want to just keep them in the home just for the sake of keeping them in the home. She does have other viable methods for housing for them.
Well, if they're in agreement, it seems to me like that might be the best thing to do is to return the children. Mom and children stay over at grandma's house for the time being and get the kids into counseling and then let the counselor direct how, if there may not be a problem at all. This may, roll off these kids like water off a duck's back. I don't know, but I think at least the counselor needs to talk to the kids and see if there's any issues. And if there are issues with the home, and I think the returning to the home should be probably at the direction of the counselor.
Your Honor, all that makes sense to me. I think that's the lowest conflict way to get this done. Can we, bring the clients on and ask about the status of the counseling, and then, talk about what we just talked about, so they see it coming from the court.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's bring them on, and I've got Jennifer here, but there's not any, we don't need a court reporter here, do we? So can we let Jennifer go? And
Yes.
because she's got some stuff she needs to do. Okay. Well, Jennifer, we'll excuse you. And before you go, would you go ahead and bring in Mr. and Ms. Lauersdorf, and then I'll let you go.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
Good morning. All right. Mr. Lauersdorf, can you hear me? Mr. Lauersdorf, can you hear me, Ms. Lauersdorf?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lauersdorf. There you are. Now, can you hear me? And you need to, you need to unmute yourself.
I'm here.
There you go. Good job. All right, we got everybody here, and so thank you, Jennifer. I'll let you go, and then we're just going to do a little talking, and then we'll decide what we're going to do after that. So thank you very much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning to both of you. And while y'all were waiting, I was talking to both attorneys, and we were discussing maybe a way that this could be resolved. And lawyers, I don't know how y'all want to handle this, whether or not y'all want to address what we discussed with your clients. You want me to, however you want to do it. And I'll go along for the ride, however y'all like to do it, since we're doing this informally.
I tell you what, Your Honor, why don't I ask my client about the counseling so we can get the current state of the counseling for them, and so we can see about that.
We hadn't started the hearing, so if y'all don't mind, I won't swear anybody in. We'll just talk right now until we decide we might need a hearing, if that's all right with y'all. So go ahead, please, Ms. Youngblood, go ahead.
Mr. Lauersdorf, what is the status of counseling, getting the kids into counseling? The two younger kids for sure, who I understand that the older child is seeing a counselor already. The two younger kids, I'm not sure they're already in counseling. Have you been able to get any of the kids into counseling since Holly came to court last week and the judge said, hey, we need to get the kids into counseling right away?
They have not been in the counseling, but the appointments have been set though, and for the earliest available.
Okay, what dates are those? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, Dylan's is set for, his is down for July 20th. Levi's is July 22nd. And Kylie's was already scheduled, so hers is already on the books for July or June 23rd.
Is this the same counselor for all three kids, sir?
No, sir, not the same counselor. It's the same location, same family counseling center, but not the same counselor. No, sir.
And so July was the earliest you get the other two kids in, the latter part of July?
In this location, yes, sir.
And that's in-person counseling, that's not Zoom or anything like that?
That's correct, sir. That is in person.
Okay. Well, Ms. Youngblood, you got other questions of Mr. Lauersdorf?
Mr. Lauersdorf, I just want to kind of go briefly back to this story. How did you become aware that this event had gone down at the children's home?
Well, before we get into actually the facts of the case, let's talk about, I'd like to talk about what we talked about and see if there's a chance of resolution before we
Okay.
start getting into the facts of the case. And if y'all don't mind, I'll just tell you what I have in mind. And then y'all can ask, both of y'all, you and Mr. Lauersdorf and you, Ms. Lauersdorf, can say what you need to say or be in response to Ms. Youngblood or Ms. Gaden's questions. It seems to me that I think counseling is needed possibly in this case. Nobody knows, or at least I don't know, and certainly the lawyers don't know. We're not experts. We don't know what the effect of this incident might be on the kids. It may be nothing, as we discussed earlier. It may be nothing. They may not, it may roll off them and not even have a care in the world about it. Or it may be something fairly traumatic. And so that's why we need the counseling. And I was hopeful that we could have counseling much quicker than, at least begin the counseling much quicker than July. But what I want to hear from the counselor is how traumatized, if they are at all, and whether or not they would feel trauma or traumatized by going back to the house. And until we get to that point, then I don't think the children should go back to the house. If they say there's not a problem, then the kids probably should go back to the house. If they say there is a problem, then I think the counselor needs to direct how the kids should go back to the house, and either to visit at first or to start living there full time again. It seems to me like, though, that the children probably should be with mom, and mom, Ms. Gaden mentioned that you might be able to stay with, I guess, your mom,
Right.
children's grandma. And if that's the case, if you and the children can stay there and not be at the house where it's disruptive to the children, but not as much as it would be otherwise, it seems to me like that might be a good way to do it until we can hear from the counselor. And certainly there needs to be an injunction against you renting out your house. I hope you don't think that's a good idea ever again.
Ever again.
But I hope you don't need that injunction. But anyway, I don't know if that, for you, Mr. Lauersdorf, if that's even a workable agreement that you might be able to have, and whether or not Ms. Lauersdorf agrees either. But that's just kind of my thoughts, and that's what I discussed earlier with the attorneys before we got y'all online here. So if y'all want to comment about it, or if you attorneys want to ask your clients a question about it and maybe fill it out a little bit more, that's fine, however y'all want to do it.
No, sir, I'm completely open to that. Like Holly told the courts in the first place, our intent was never to keep the kids from Heather. It was just to keep them from going back to the house. So if there's other alternatives to have them, then I'm absolutely okay with that. And I'm sure the kids would enjoy that as well.
Are you okay with that, Ms. Lauersdorf?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I had, when the kids were supposed to come back, I had said that if they weren't comfortable in the home, that I would leave.
Well, is that okay, Ms. Gaden and Mr. Youngblood, is that something that y'all think y'all be all right with too?
Can't hear you, Crystal.
I didn't hear you either, Ms. Gaden.
I muted it because I'm coughing over here, but yes, I'm absolutely fine with that.
All right. Well, then why don't we do that? Why don't we just, if y'all would like to put together a Rule 11 agreement of that effect, and say that the children be returned to mom, The mom and the children will stay at grandma's house. The children will not be returned to the house for any reason until told to do so by the counselor or directed by the counselor. And again, if there's Mr. Lauersdorf, you mentioned something at that location. If there's another location or another counselor or something that y'all can get in quicker, I think that'd be good because, you know, I would think that what I would like to do is have this resolved this summer. Hopefully the kids are going to go to, all kids, not these kids, but all kids are going to go back to school in some form in the fall. And so I just think it'd be good to at least know which direction we're going by the summer. And we're not allowing much time if we don't start till July the 20th or the 23rd, whatever it was. So I would hope that y'all might be able to work together and find some alternative to those particular start dates. Again, whether it's with the same counselor or group of counselors, or if y'all need to find a new counselor.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right.
Your Honor, I made all those notes. I can whip up a Rule 11 to send over to Ms. Gaden's office this afternoon. And we could have all this knocked out. Mr. Lauersdorf, can you and Ms. Lauersdorf coordinate the handoff of the kids without the expense of lawyers having to sort that out?
Absolutely.
Okay, why don't y'all try to do that today sometime, if that's okay, unless y'all agree otherwise. Why don't y'all do that today? And again, y'all talk. The best thing to do is for y'all to talk about the counselors and see if you just need to get them in quicker than a month from now. That's too late, I think, to try to get this thing done.
Absolutely.
All right, Ms. Gaden, you okay with all that?
I'm perfectly fine with all that, Judge. Thank
All
you.
right, well then, I don't know, is there anything else we need to talk about here today? Lawyers?
I think that's all that was pleaded for, Your Honor, so I think we're good.
Ms. Gaden?
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Lauersdorf or Ms. Lauersdorf, do y'all have any other questions before we end this meeting?
No, sir.
I have one. Can I only go to my mom's or can I go to other family members or even friends?
Well, I guess if you're not planning, your mother was the only one that we talked about. I guess if you're planning to go somebody else, we need to talk about it and see if Mr. Lauersdorf agrees.
I have no issue with it with any other family members or even if it's friends' houses that the kids are comfortable at that they've been going to. I think that'd be absolutely fine. For my issue is just her home at this time.
Okay. So you're not, you wouldn't take the children to any family, or obviously he knows your family members, but to a friend's house or somebody he doesn't know, right, Ms. Lauersdorf?
I mean, I can make sure that that's not somewhere we go, but I mean, we've been divorced a long time, so he doesn't know most of my friends right now.
Okay, well, I just think you need to go someplace that he's comfortable with, and
Okay.
I think y'all need to talk, and just don't go out there and find stuff. Don't exacerbate this whole situation, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and don't poke the bear, either one of you.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I'll allow you lawyers, I'll let you'll probably need to talk to your clients and flesh out the Rule 11 agreement if there's plans to possibly take the children to places other than grandmother's house. But
Right.
I'd like to narrow that down to a few candidates, not too many. I don't want to just have an open-ended thing here where she can take the children to family members or friends' house and no restrictions at all.
Okay,
Alright.
well, why don't, so Ms. Gaden, if you'll talk to your client about some people that she thinks are good candidates, and then shoot that over to me and we'll just put that in, we'll just put that into Rule 11 specifically and build as much flexibility into this as we can to start with.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, anything else, Ms. Lauersdorf? Any other questions?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
All right, well, good luck to both of you, and be sure to put the injunction in about no renting the house out anymore too, just in case that pops up.
Your Honor.
All right, I'll let y'all go then. Thank you very much. Good luck to both of you.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
sir.
day.
Y'all have a good day. Be careful.
Bye-bye.
Likewise.